Top 10 gemstones that glow when spirits are near. There are lights we understand: the sun on stone, the glow of fire, the mirror's reflection. But some lights arrive differently. They do not come from heat or flame. They appear silent, without warning, as if drawn by something just out of sight. Across generations, stories speak of stones that do not shine on their own but respond. A glimmer at a funeral, a shimmer during prayer, a faint glow when a name is whispered that no one else has spoken aloud in years. Science may offer its reasons: humidity, refraction, minerals. But those who've seen it, don't ask why. They know. The glow doesn't seek attention, it answers presence. This is not a list of beautiful gemstones. This is a record of reactions. These are the 10 stones known to shimmer, pulse, or flare when spirits draw near. And if one day you find one glowing in your hand, you weren't alone to begin with. Remember to press and hold the like button, leave a comment, and hit subscribe before we begin. Ranked 10th, Nuummite, the sorcerer's stone. Before gods had names and stars had stories, Nuummite was already waiting. Forged over 3 billion years ago beneath the ancient crust of Greenland, it is one of the oldest minerals on Earth, a relic from when the planet was still fire, pressure, and silence. And yet, to those who've held it, Nuummite doesn't feel dead. It feels aware. In the frigid silence of the Arctic Circle, Inuit shamans spoke of it as the eye of the earth, not because it shines, but because it sees. They believed Nuummite was a mirror not for the body, but for the soul. A sacred tool used in ancestral rituals. It was placed in the center of summoning circles, not to call spirits, but to confirm they had arrived. And that's when it would happen. Without warning, with no light source nearby, the stone's jet-black surface would flicker, a sudden flash of bronze or gold, like fire behind obsidian. It was not a reflection, but a response. Modern geologists classify Nuummite as a metamorphic rock composed of Apophyllite and Gidrite, minerals created under intense heat and pressure. But in spiritual circles, Nuummite is something far more ancient: a key, a watcher, a stone that doesn't reveal the light around you. It shows what's already with you. Practitioners claim that Nuummite often flashes in places of loss, in homes of mourning, or sacred spaces charged with emotional residue. Others have reported the glow appearing only moments before a chill filled the air, or after the sense that they were no longer alone. And some stories go further. According to certain oral traditions, when Nuummite flashes, it's not the stone glowing. It's a message, a sign, a brief acknowledgement from something beyond the veil reaching through. Shamans would whisper, "Don't look into it unless you're ready to see who's looking back." Unlike crystals that shine for beauty, Nuummite doesn't glow to be admired. It glows to warn or to welcome. And for that reason alone, it earns its place on this list. Because when it flickers in your hand, in total darkness, in absolute stillness, the question is never, where did the light come from? The question is, what just arrived? Ranked 9th, Phenakite, the signal that wasn't supposed to blink. Beneath the surface of a quiet mountain or locked inside a cathedral of quartz, Phenakite waits with eerie patience. Small, pale, and unassuming, this stone has triggered some of the loudest silences recorded throughout spiritual history. Long sought by mystics and crystal seers, Phenakite is described in esoteric circles as a frequency amplifier, a conductor between human thought and invisible realms. It behaves strangely when placed atop sacred symbols or worn during deep trance work. It does not glow in a physical sense, but it trembles with what many describe as inner voltage. There are private, scattered, often whispered testimonies of Phenakite flashing when contact is near. Not steadily, not predictably, but in sudden rhythmic pulses. 3 quick glints in an empty room. A faint flash after the name of the departed is spoken. In high Himalayan altars and Brazilian healing caves, some called this the spirit's code, as though something beyond the veil had found a way to answer, with light. Phenakite's name, derived from the Greek phenakos, meaning deceiver, is no accident. For centuries it masqueraded as other stones, quartz, beryl, even diamonds. But while other gems chase attention, Phenakite's rarity is compounded by something more elusive: timing. It doesn't show itself until something else moves first. Unlike stones that shimmer by design, Phenakite reacts. It listens. It remembers. In altered states, whether during ritual meditation or grief-induced awakenings, it has been known to send sharp sparks into the corners of a room that had moments before felt still. There was no wind. There was no breath. Yet the light answered. And when it does, there are no warnings, no fanfare, just the blink. Then stillness, the kind of stillness that suggests the message was received and the presence acknowledged. Ranked 8th, Petalite, the veilstone. High in the whispering altitudes of ancient temples, where incense clings to stone and prayers echo long after the mouth is closed, a mineral is kept in silence. Petalite. Pale as ash, it's still as snowfall. For centuries it was known only by those who required stillness to hear anything. Petalite does not need spectacle. It exists in a threshold, the kind that priests, monks, and mystics have sought for generations. In sacred writings hidden among Himalayan monastic texts, there are mentions of a gate stone that softly glows when unseen presences arrive. It would not blind or burn, but it would answer. When placed in the center of ceremonial spaces, the surface of petalite was observed to shimmer with a faint blush. Not under flame or sun, but during the final moments of invocation, when the air thickens and time seems to pause. The monks believed this flicker marked the moment the veil parted and the visitor stepped through. Petalite carries lithium within its crystalline frame, a quiet element often used to calm the mind. Perhaps that is why sensitives claim it sharpens spiritual perception while softening fear. Some describe it as a light sleeper, a stone that does not wake easily, but the space around it changes when it does. Jewelers do not seek it. It does not headline auctions. But in circles where spirits are not myths but visitors, petalite is not decoration. It is a signal, a silent beacon glowing just enough for the other side to find its way in. There are stories, never in books, always in breath, of guardians who buried petalite beneath altars, believing its pulse would act as a lighthouse in the darkness. Not to call spirits in, but to let them know they were welcome. And when the glow comes, faint like memory, no one speaks. They wait, because the presence is already here. Ranked 7th, Moonstone, the silent witness. Some stones shine for the eye, and some rocks respond to something far more challenging to measure. Moonstone has long lived in that second category. Across centuries and continents, it has traveled not as a treasure, but as an omen. In India, it was believed to be frozen moonlight, condensed into mineral form by divine breath. In ancient Rome, it was thought to contain the goddess Diana's vision. But in nearly every culture it touched, one idea stayed the same. Moonstone watched, not with malice, not with judgment, but with a quiet, knowing presence. Those who work with the stone, healers, clairvoyants, funeral keepers, have spoken of a peculiar effect. When a spirit draws near, especially during full moons or rites of passage, the surface of the gem subtly shifts. A glow appears from within. It is not bright, not dramatic, but alive, almost like the light is listening. This phenomenon has no formal name. Scientists classify it as adulorescence, an optical effect caused by layered feldspar scattering light. But practitioners call it something simpler: the glance. It is as if, for just a second, Moonstone is acknowledging someone no one else can see. Accounts from mortuary shrines in Sri Lanka describe moonstones placed beside the bodies of the newly departed. On nights when mourning was deepest, witnesses said the stones shimmered, even without flame, even in rooms where all else was still. And some claim the glow isn't triggered by grief, but by love that refuses to let go. Moonstone does not call out, awaken storms, or pierce darkness. Its role is gentler and more intimate. It marks presence without disturbing it. It is a companion for the silent, the unseen, and the in-between. There is no signal, no sound, only the light, and the knowing that someone has entered the room. Ranked sixth, Labradorite, the northern veil. In lands where the night never ends and the sky itself breaks open with color, there exists a stone that doesn't reflect light. It remembers it. The Inuit first uncovered Labradorite along the coast of Labrador, Canada. They believed the northern lights had been struck down by a celestial blade, fragments buried beneath the ice. Those fragments, they said, became stone. That story is more than folklore. Labradorite begins to stir when the sky goes dark and the wind stills. It doesn't shine on command. It flares, sudden, strange, spectral, not from its surface but from inside, like a trapped aurora. Green, blue, gold, violet, shifting in slow arcs, like something watching from underwater. There are rituals passed down through generations that place Labradorite at the heart of shamanic journeys, not as protection, not as a guide, but as a gatekeeper. During trance work or ancestral rites, when the veil is said to thin, witnesses describe the stone flaring without provocation. As the shaman speaks with the old voices, the color intensifies. It is not random, not decorative, but responsive. In colder months, when the land holds more shadow than the sun, Labradorite's flash appears more often, particularly in places where loss still lingers. Entire villages have claimed that after the passing of a soul, the stone begins to breathe light near the deceased's home. No switch, no source, just flicker, then stillness. Scientists point to labradorescence, an optical illusion caused by mineral layers scattering light. But the explanation is more straightforward among those who've kept watch beside it during long winters. When something crosses over, Labradorite knows. It offers no voice, no warning, only a glimmer, not a beacon, not a flare, but a veil briefly lifted. Ranked fifth, Apophyllite, the breath between worlds. In rooms where the walls carry long-forgotten hymns, there are moments when the air seems to tremble, not from sound, but from presence. That's where Apophyllite is found, not in crowds or gold-lined temples, but in the quietest corners of stillness. Colorless, clear, sometimes touched by green. It's a crystal that appears weightless, as if it remembers the feeling of being vapor before the stone. Its name comes from the Greek apophyllite, to flake off for its tendency to crumble in heat, and yet spiritually it has never been known to break. Apophyllite has been placed near the dying and the awakened alike for centuries. In rites of crossing, it is laid on altars, positioned near the crown of the head, not to guard, but to listen. Those who have stood beside it during these moments describe a soft and subtle flicker running beneath its surface as if something had drawn near, something that didn't need form. Apophyllite does not emit light with spectacles. Its glow is quieter, internal, a shimmer that doesn't come from reflection, but from presence. Mediums describe it as a mirror that doesn't show the physical, but reveals emotional echoes, pain, longing, peace, and farewells. When spirits approach, the temperature shifts, not cold, not hot, but hollow. In this strange breath between worlds, Apophyllite sometimes answers. A pulse, a haze, a flicker without flame. Its frequency matches the upper chakras, which are places of vision, memory, and release. When a soul prepares to leave, or another seeks its way back, the crystal responds. Not with noise or movement, but with light that feels like a whisper. No one commands it. No one can ask it to glow. But when it does, something has already passed through. Ranked fourth, Angel Aura Quartz, the halo gem. Some stones are born of the earth, others are touched by fire. Angel Aura Quartz is something else entirely, a fusion of the terrestrial and the divine, wrapped in silence and shimmer. It begins as clear quartz, the humble transmitter, the neutral vessel. Then comes the alchemy, a platinum, silver, and titanium vapor fused to the surface in blazing heat. What emerges is a crystal cloaked in iridescence, cloaked in something not quite natural, but not unnatural either. Its glow resembles oil on water or light passing through breath. The result feels less like an ornament and more like an apparition. Skeptics call it artificial, But in spiritual sanctuaries across the world, its reputation defies such simplicity. When placed in spaces of deep meditation, or near those in grief, prayer, or transition, angel aura quartz has been observed to shimmer without external light. Witnesses describe it glowing softly in candleless rooms during moments charged not by electricity, but by emotion. The air shifts. The crystal responds. Its glow doesn't radiate. It hovers. Light doesn't pour from it. It lingers inside like mist caught in glass. Healers and clairvoyants speak of the gem as a veil lifter, an amplifier, a clarifier, not because it forces communication, but because it makes room for it. There are accounts of the crystal glowing just before a vision arrives or pulsing faintly during invocations meant for angelic guidance. These moments rarely last, but the color seems suspended when they do, pale rainbows locked inside the air. Some say the glow is not from this realm. Others suggest it's the residue of divine proximity, a leftover shimmer like a footprint made of light. Angel aura quartz does not announce itself. Its radiance is not loud. It simply appears when something higher chooses to descend. Ranked third, Selenite, the spirit's path. No flame, no fire, yet it glows. Selenite carries the name of a goddess, Selene, the ancient moon in flowing robes of light. But its glow is not a myth. It is visible, tangible, and to some, unmistakably spiritual. Formed in silent salt beds and desert caves, selenite appears not as a crystal of weight, but of atmosphere. It is colorless, soft, and delicate to the touch, but in darkness it holds a faint, unwavering luminescence, a light that doesn't flicker or flash but endures, as if it remembers something long forgotten and chooses not to let it go. In sacred spaces, whether monasteries, cathedrals, or private altars, selenite is placed not as decoration, but as a guide. Mediums, monks, and ritualists have long believed the stone marks passage, not of time, but of presence. When a spirit enters, they say, selenite responds. Not with brilliance, but with a stillness that brightens, as if the surrounding space exhales, and something invisible begins to move through. There are countless accounts of it glowing in rooms where the air suddenly shifted, after prayer, after sorrow, or during the quiet moments before a soul leaves the body. Some describe it as a light that does not belong to the room, yet causes no fear, only clarity, only pause. Its structure, composed of tightly arranged water molecules, is known to conduct subtle energy. Some say this is why selenite never needs cleansing. Others believe it is because the stone cannot hold darkness. When spirits pass through, it is said to open, not reveal, but release. No chants are required. No ceremony must be performed. Selenite glows when it must. When it does, the living knows they are not the only ones in the room. Ranked second, Moldavite, the fallen light. There is no gentle glow here, no peaceful shimmer. Moldavite doesn't awaken when spirits are near. It charges the air, splits the silence, and drags something ancient through. Born from impact, not formation, Moldavite is not of this earth alone. It erupted 15 million years ago when a meteor struck the ground, now known as the Czech Republic. The heat was so intense it fused terrestrial rock with extraterrestrial material and scattered the result across the continent like shattered emerald fire. That violence remains in the stone, not in its shape, rough, mossy, translucent, but in its presence. Those who carry Moldavite often report a sudden rise in temperature, a flush in the chest, and a pulse in the hand. It is not psychosomatic. The sensation returns repeatedly, especially in places where death has not settled, or where the veil between dimensions feels thinnest. Moldavite does not flicker with delicate light. It radiates in ways that defy explanation. There are claims of the stone glowing faintly in darkened rooms, not from reflection, but from within. Mediums speak of sharp flashes at the edge of vision or full-body chills seconds before a message arrives. In several traditions, it is not used to invite spirits, but to endure them, because Moldavite is not passive. It opens, pulls, and elevates the frequency of everything around it. For some, this brings breakthroughs, and for others, rupture. But in both cases, the stone does not remain still when a spirit is near. Its glow is agitation made visible. It does not resemble peace, it resembles contact, and for that it is feared and revered. Not every gemstone offers comfort in the dark. Some, like Moldavite, open the sky and let the unknown speak back. In the first place, Ethiopian Opal, the spirit's mirror. It doesn't shine, it burns. Beneath the highlands of Ethiopia, where the sky crackles dry and the earth opens like a scar, there is a stone that does not reflect the world. It reflects what lingers beyond it. Ethiopian opal is fire trapped in stone. It shifts as if possessed by memory. Red bleeds into green. Blue gives way to violet. Orange rises, then disappears. No two glows are alike, and no two truths it shows are identical. Miners speak of strange behavior. Opals that flicker before being touched. Stones that pulse like breathing in sealed crates. Light that dances not across the surface, but through it, as if lit by something moving underneath. In village rituals near Welo, elders use Ethiopian opal as a vessel, not for asking, summoning, or knowing. During rites of mourning, the gemstone is placed beside photographs of the lost. Sometimes it dulls. Other times it flares without warning. When that happens, no one speaks. They open the window, because as the old ones say, that's when the soul arrives. Its structure is unlike that of other opals. Hydrophane absorbs water and energy from its surroundings in nature. Some say this is why it reacts so violently in spiritual spaces. It doesn't deflect spirits, it invites them in. There are stories of glowing flashes seen during ancestral ceremonies, flickers caught by no camera, confirmed by no tool, and yet witnessed by dozens. One healer described it not as light, but as presence in color form, the essence of something that does not wish to be named. Ethiopian opal glows when silence thickens and grief sharpens. When memory becomes more than memory, it does not hide its fire. It reveals the fire you brought with you. Of all the stones said to answer the spirit world, only this one dares to show what's already here, not through words, signs, but through fire that changes shape every time you look again. What it reveals is never the same, but what it recognizes always is. Not every glow asks to be seen. Some were never meant for a living. Throughout this journey, you've glimpsed the stones that flicker not from beauty, but from awareness. Gems that answer when the veil grows thin. Crystals that breathe light when something else, someone else, enters the room. They come from the deep earth, from impact, from silence. But their glow does not belong to stone alone. It belongs to memory, to crossing, to contact. While science may study their structures, measure their fractures, and name their minerals, there are things these stones do that can't be charted, because when the light moves without a source, when it pulses in your palm, when it answers nothing you've said out loud, that's when you'll understand. Some stones glow for the camera, but these glow for the dead. In the comments, let us know which one resonates with you, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this.